Hello, Logoris. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the stream. We'll wait a little bit here and just talk a little bit among ourselves, I guess, before we start with the challenge. Give people some time to tune in. Man, this I can already tell you so much. This is going to be a pretty long one today because we have just so many entries to go through, which is just great. It's just a lot of people entering is a great thing, but it's also a lot of work for me. By the way, is the audio okay? Sounds good. Okay, awesome. Remember, this is my first time streaming on YouTube, so settings might have to be adjusted a little bit. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Hey, Jory Smith. Jory Smith? Okay. Good. Good to hear. All right. Joe. Okay. Where are you from, by the way? The Netherlands. Okay, I've actually lived there for a year or so. Isn't it like OE in succession is pronounced like U? So like Jury Schmidt? Is that it? Anyway, yeah. Okay, I was actually right. Like, at least I remembered something from my time in the Netherlands. That and Kapsalon is what I remembered. Hey, Xavier Flint. How are you doing? Okay, I'm gonna close Discord now. And remember, I'm running this in parallel. Well, I'm not streaming this to the automation forums, but as you know, the challenge is also on the automation forums. So I have a massive post there that is going live right now. I will also need to update the forum post and edit the title to make sure that it's closed now, and then we can start. Okay, good. So I updated the forum post. All right. Good. I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. So because we have just a ton of cars to go through, and sorry, that noise was Windows because Beam crashed recently, like a week and a half ago or so, but it does that forever. Because we have so many entries to go through, I'm not going to go to automation, I'm not going to go to automation first. The cars that did not get disqualified are already in BeamNG. And so we will get started with that. Please check out the link in the description if you want to see all of the disqualified cars. I don't have time to go over them right now. There's, I think, 10 of them, but I will go through the cars that we have competing as we select this first race. So it's going to be Hakone Nanamagiri, and here we are. So this one is my own car that I'm going to be driving to warm up. So this is not in the competition. We have the Peugeal Saucisse. Then we have the Nightwave Ibis Kestrel. We have the Bullet 12.7 X99 with the Delta Disconnect, the F&S Macro Turbo SSS, the GEC GR2 2.0, the Halpin Mondello Mk2 I4T Turbo, the Miachino by Sedan 57 Chevy, the Night Owl, the Oktopus Wankel 2 Turbo, the Poli Sabre, the Primarri Quattro Sport, the Todoki F252-R, the Wells Spree, and the Cicero 2000 GZS Active Sport. That's quite a few. So, hello Sedan 57 Chevy. Hope you're doing well. Miachino. Yeah, Miachino. So, this is a warm-up run in my own car. If you're curious, this has a 1.8 liter inline-4 turbo engine with 220 horsepower, and it's front engine rear-wheel drive. Also, if you'll excuse me, quickly get rid of that. Random 41, your car got disqualified. Check out the forum post, which is in the description. But your engine was way too much race spec to put into a budget sports car. I'm sorry. I have 2 flat tires and I'm still continuing this warm-up run. Like, it doesn't really matter how fast this run is anyway. And yeah, unfortunately you have to crash your car in order to get across the line here, so yeah. Disregard this time, it doesn't matter. So yeah, let's get started. So how do I do this now so I can see the chat and also the spreadsheet with whose car it is and its stats? Let me see. Okay. Okay, there we go. So the first one we would have is the Primarri Quattro Sport. I can't. Hang on a second. Give me a moment here. Professional streamer here, by the way. I wish I was. Anyway. Okay. you had like 93 cam profile. You had 5 valves per cylinder. So that's what I mean with race. Like 93 cam profile is not something you'd find in a $25,000 like sports car. Okay, here we have the Primarri Quattro Sport. It didn't, but please check out the forum post. Like, I wasn't asking for race cars. I wasn't asking for, you know, the most powerful car or the fastest car you can make for 25 grand. We might do a challenge like that in the future. But I was looking for a budget sports car that makes an okay amount of power, but is easy to drive and affordable and approachable. Okay, so this car right here is the Primarri Quattro Sport by Matt P. It's got a 2-liter inline-4 with 130 horsepower, and it weighs 1,189 kilograms, and it's front-wheel drive. So styling-wise, I have to say that especially the rear end is quite plain. And I also don't like the fact that you didn't use like wheel spacers or anything. There's like a huge gap between where the arches end and where the tires are. And so I'm gonna give, because the front looks, well, basically like a Celica. The rear end looks more plain than a Celica, so I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10. This car didn't use any like rim offset, so there's a huge gap between the tire and the end of the arch. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10 for design. Not really the best looking car in my opinion. We have a massive amount of understeer with this one. Apparently we do also have a diff though, so I can stay on part throttle during the corner to avoid or to mitigate the understeer somewhat. Somewhat. $135.076. Okay, so my car was faster even by like 5 seconds, even with 2 flat tires. So okay, next. I seriously considered front-wheel drive for the loads. Glad someone else did it though. There's actually, let me tell you, there's a huge variety in spec here. We've got front-wheel drive cars, we've got rear-wheel drive cars, we've got front-engine cars, mid-engine, rear-engine, we've got all-wheel drive cars. So yeah, this one, the GEC GR2 2.0, that was sent in by ABG7. It's got a 2-liter inline-4 with 200 horsepower, and it's mid-engine rear-wheel drive. Well, how many cars have been raced so far? Only one that counts, and then my own car for a warm-up. Now, this one looks pretty sporty and pretty 90s. I do like it. It's got the wheels, like the simple 5-spoke wheels suited well. The rear end, I will say, looks good, but also a little bit plain. I would have liked a little bit more detail, like in this area here, like to the side of the normal plate, some kind of vent or any other sort of a bumper bar trim element or something like that. But other than that, I think it looks good, and it gets a 7 out of 10 from me. This car also does have quite a bit of initial understeer in the corners. Don't touch the curb. Even though this also has some understeer, it's better than the last car, and it already feels like we're going quite a bit quicker. $131.5. Okay, so taking the lead so far. Again, my own car doesn't count, so. Next up, we have the Ibis Kestrel by user Nightwave. Now, this one's front-engined rear-wheel drive. It's got a 2.4-liter naturally aspirated Boxer 6. It makes 168 horsepower and weighs 1,411 kilograms. So this, I believe, makes it the heaviest car in the competition. Styling-wise, I would say it definitely looks kind of sleek and a little bit futuristic from the front, I would say. Not necessarily bad, but could maybe be... Oh, it's got side pipes too. I was wondering where the exhausts were. I would prefer some simpler, kind of more contemporary headlights on for the 90s on this, but it still looks good in my opinion. The rear also looks fine. Maybe the taillight arrangement could be a little bit thinner in my opinion, but other than that, I like it, and maybe even a small diffuser on the rear or something along the bottom edge of the tail could also help. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10 as well. I like it as much as the previous one. This car looks like it needs a V12. Yep, but I don't know, maybe the owner makes another version of this car with a V12. Maybe we should ask him. So, okay, I was actually caught off guard by the initial bite of this thing, and it does also like sliding, so now question to everyone watching: who here has played the PlayStation 2 game, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, back in the day? I think it came out in like 2002 or 3. Some of the like touge tracks in that one do also have quite a few hairpins in them, and obviously you drive them in like Japanese rear-wheel drive sports cars, and some events are dedicated drift events, so yeah, you do go sideways quite a bit. 130.7. So this takes the lead now because it understeered the least as of right now. Pretty good. I will... Oh, Xavier, you've played it, but this reminds me of Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift 2. Amazing game that was. I've actually never played Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift 2. Is that from the same sort of era? Also from the early 2000s? Who's next? The Bullet, or the Aero Bullet, as I shall call it, by user Etzel. This one is mid-engined all-wheel drive. It's got a 1.9 liter Boxer 4 turbo that makes 161 horsepower, and it weighs 963 kilos. It's a PS2 game, okay. So this one I'm gonna say doesn't strike me as a particularly like flashy looking car. It's very, very simple. And yeah, it's a bit too plain for me. I mean, I like the little vents on the rear quarter just in front of the rear wheels, because I assume it's got like brake airflow through those. But other than that, it's just a little bit too plain and a bit too blocky and too square in terms of the fixtures used for my liking. The engine's going to be right here. I would assume like right here in this area. Now let's see how it drives. Understeer through there, but I have a suspicion that this might actually be one of the better cars because it's light, short wheelbase means it's nimble, all-wheel drive means it's got traction. It's fast when you get on it. 130.0. I think that's the quickest yet. Yep, it is. Pretty good then. I hate that they put that finish line like right up against the fence there. Well, Vibing Station, your car was too expensive. It was over budget, so unfortunately it was disqualified. You can check out the post in the forum. Their resubmissions aren't allowed, so I didn't accept your second submission. I'm sorry. So next up was the Oktopus Wankel 2 Turbo, which was sent in by Noob Enthusiaste. Now this one has a 1.4 liter inline-4 turbo that's sort of tuned as a sort of rotary engine, so it revs really high. And it makes 241 horsepower, and it weighs 1055 kilos, so 1055. Styling-wise, I'm gonna be honest, like obviously the first thing that's going to come to mind is RX-7, although I don't really like the way that these indicators go around the corner here. I feel like if it were just straight and ended like here, just a simple straight square here, I think it would look better. Now let's go to the rear. I do like this detail on the side here. The rear looks good. Probably the best looking rear so far. But I don't like the front very much because of these. Yeah, there was definitely quite a bit of effort going into this for sure. I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10 for styling. Let's see how it drives. It's fast. And loose. So we're gonna have a fun time here. And I gotta focus with this thing. I feel like it is pretty quick though. It is, but didn't quite beat the last car. It's in second place now. I haven't imported I haven't exported the disqualified cars into BeamNG because there's 15 contenders already, and I'm not gonna drive disqualified cars to go like, okay, what if? That's not what I do. Next up would be the WMC Cicero 2000 GCS Active Sports. What a name. That one was sent in by Tall Trini Guy. It's got a 2-liter inline-6 turbo, 211 horsepower, weighs 1134 kilograms. It's front-engined rear-wheel drive. Yeah, man. I was actually half expecting that to be a little bit quicker because it felt quicker. It definitely felt more powerful than the last one. But I guess the Aero Bullet was just grippier and a little bit nimbler. This car, the Cicero, I do think that I like this styling in BeamNG more than I did like it in automation. I think it looks better here. It's smooth, it's kind of elegant, it's got nice details. Kind of looks 240SX-ish in the front. If you check out the description, you can click the link to the forum post. Okay. Well, I thought this was the name was inspired by the ancient Roman rhetor and politician and philosopher Cicero, and that's how you actually say it. At least if it's the Latin pronunciation. The rear end, I do like it. It's got the sort of E46 taillights there and a nice rear wing. What do we give this for styling? I'm actually gonna say this is probably the best looking so far. I'm gonna give this an 8. Excuse me. Okay, so this one actually has traction control. There we go. Okay, now this understeers quite a bit. And I feel like it doesn't have... It probably doesn't have the gear diff that the Oktopus did. So you can't really rectify the understeer with your right foot. Or in this case, your right trigger finger. I do think that like geared limited slip diffs do have disadvantages too, namely on faster tracks where the corners are a bit more open. And I think that just the way that the gear diffs are calibrated here in BeamNG makes it so that the car is just too loose here. This is a 31.6 here. This is a different car, don't mind this one. Yeah, okay. So this is in second to last for now. Barely behind the GEC GR 2.0. An 8 is good enough for me. So you're the creator here? Tall Trini guy, is this you? So how do you pronounce the name of this car then? Is it Cicero? So like Xavier meant, or is it the Latin pronunciation, which would be Cicero? The Latin one, okay. So, okay, next up we have the Halpin Mondello Mk2. This was sent in by Animated Gaming 12. And this car has a 1.8 liter turbo inline 4 with 199 horsepower and 1200 and it weighs 1270 kilograms. So it's mid-engined rear-wheel drive. I do see obviously the Ferrari 355 shape. I like the front end, honestly. It's nice and sleek. I think the vents just in front of the rear wheels are a little bit much, at least the top one. I can see the lower one being adequate here, but the one on the top I feel like is a little bit much. Moving back to the rear, I do like this one. Maybe a little bit too racy with that diffuser, but overall a nice design. I'd give this a 7. Let's try that again. Okay. This understeers a lot, or maybe it's just the first corner because there like everything understeers. A little bit late on the brakes there. $130.723. Oh man. Yeah, very close, but just ahead of the Ibis Kestrel. The Ibis Kestrel, sorry. These cars are all so close to each other, man. And this is because, like, down here you really can't make use of the differences in engine power. Like this here, for example, the Wankel 2 Turbo has 240 horsepower. It would easily out-accelerate most cars here. Not all of them, but most of them. And it's no faster than many of the others here. Next up, we just had the Halpin Mondello. Next up is the Night Owl by Genje FT. No. You're up next now. By the way, let me know. I think I put the link to the forum in the description of this stream. But this is my first time streaming here on YouTube and first time setting this up, so let me know if that actually worked. Can you see the description? You're good, okay. Right, styling-wise, I'm gonna say the front is okay. There's no windscreen wipers. Not a whole lot going on here. Maybe the headlights are even a little bit too modern with those LEDs. Those weren't really a thing yet in 1995. And the rear end is very plain. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, but like styling is not this car's strong suit. And so I think he even said in the in Discord that you only had like 2 hours to put this together, and I assume most of that probably went into the engineering. I'm gonna give this styling a 3 out of 10. Oh wait, lock the diff. Doesn't have traction control. Okay, here we go. Very long gearing. Oh, I missed let's do this again. I missed the stats too. That's a 2-liter Boxer 4 naturally aspirated on 195 horsepower, and it weighs 1152 kilos, and it's front-wheel drive. See, the problem with these cars is with these front-wheel drive cars with the diff is initially they understeer quite a bit, but you have to kind of trust that when you apply partial throttle, because of the diff, it's gonna go round. But that's scary. See? A little bit of handbrake there. Oh my god. 128.3. That's a clear leader now. I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, if you really like man up, if you will, and do apply partial throttle during those corners, then it actually hooks up thanks to the diff. But if you stay off throttle through the corner like you would with a rear-wheel drive car, then it understeers like crazy. So you have to trust that it's going to bite, that the front end is going to hook thanks to the diff, and then it goes around the corners pretty nicely. It's scary though, as I said. Next up is the Wells Spree. This was sent in by Deuce the Truth. This one has a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine with 184 horsepower, and it weighs only 926 kilos. It's front-engined and rear-wheel drive. So I'm gonna come straight out with this. This does not look like 1995. This looks like 2010-ish. With those thin, kind of inset, kind of LED style headlights, the sharp lines, the rims, the taillights that look like a thinned out version of an E60 BMW, which, you know, that came out in 2003. So, I don't think it's not a bad look, but necessarily, but it does not look like a car from 1995 at all. So yeah, because it doesn't look correct for its time period, I'm only gonna give this a 4 out of 10. It looks good, just not for 1995 at all. Yeah, well done, Genja. Like the tune, the engineering definitely worked out. Once it's set in the corner, this one also handles pretty well. It's just the initial turn that it sometimes doesn't go as I might want it. Coming up to the finish line, and this is also quick. 1:28.0. New leader. Very nice. Well balanced. And quick. Next up is the Poli Sabre sent in by Poli Vitico. This car has a 1.6 liter turbocharged inline-4 with 197 horsepower. It weighs 1164 kilos and it's front engine rear-wheel drive. Now guys, while we're here, please leave a like on the stream. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. YouTube is all about engagement, so likes and comments is what counts most, and that'll make YouTube roll out my future videos to more people, and that'll help me as a content creator. So I would appreciate if we could just leave a like. Styling for the Poli Sabre. I think that it's all just too much in the middle. I feel like this front end would probably look better if the front wheel arches weren't so wide. If they ended like here, then I could see it. Then I could see it working. But and look at it, you could go with a lot more offset too on those front wheels. They're not even like all the way out. This also doesn't have windscreen wipers. And then the rear end, big diffuser. I kind of like the rear end. It's relatively simple, but there's still enough kind of detail going on, in my opinion. But the front, I'm not a big fan of, and I have to also deduct a little bit just for the lack of windscreen wipers. You wouldn't be able to sell a car without windscreen wipers in 1995. So I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10 for styling. This, I think, is probably going to have either an open or a viscous diff, because it always spins one rear wheel. We've seen that with quite a few rear-wheel drive cars here. But it does stay composed, it doesn't understeer much. Oh, that was late on the brakes. I think I just damaged something, I'm sorry, I gotta go again here. Oh yeah, it doesn't have mirrors either. So that's what you were referring to. I don't know how I missed that this doesn't have any mirrors. Okay, good. Made it through that turn pretty well this time. $131.6. That places it in the middle of the pack, actually. So that was the Poli Sabre. Next up is the F&S Macro Turbo SSS. This was sent in by Flint. So this is a very small car, a small convertible here. Reminds me of some like early TVRs from the 60s and whatnot, this sort of side profile. Okay, so you could probably work with the layers in automation for the headlights to cover this little bit of the vent here to make it look a little bit cleaner. The front, I feel like it's fine. I feel like it could use a little bit something, or the headlights could be a little bit bigger and a little bit more drawn out towards the side. I do like that that there's these sort of vertical vents here, and a little bit more here, and a little bit of detail here. So this car definitely has a lot of attention to detail. I like the rear end quite a bit. And it's got side exhausts too, or rather one side exhaust, because it's only a 4-cylinder engine. It's a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 210 horsepower, and this thing only weighs 837 kilos, and it's front-wheel drive. And I'm gonna say this is a 7 out of 10 design. Okay, let me try this again. This I got irritated by the massive amount of wheel spin here off the line. I don't think this has ABS either. gonna go. I'm sorry that I keep restarting here, but this also has a front diff, so I gotta get adjusted to that. Because I feel like with how light this car is, the short wheelbase and the front-wheel drive plus diff combo could definitely be one hell of a contender, and so I want to do it justice when I drive this. You can definitely sense that once you get on the power, there's a lot of acceleration happening. $129.2. Not top spot, but third for now. That side exhaust backfire looks like a flashbang grenade going off on the side of the car. Yeah, indeed. Next is the 1995 Peugeal Saucisse Mi16T. The side of that car is going to be burnt after a short drive. I don't know, man. I mean, the Dodge Viper was in production for like over 20 years. And that probably makes a whole lot more heat than this inline 4-cylinder. Now, this car is a Peugeot 306 Cabrio souped up, basically. From the outside, this is almost a replica of the 306 Cabrio from what I can see. So, nice, but not the most original design, of course. Which is why I give it a 5 out of 10. This was sent in by Automation Forum user S31. This has a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 with 215 horsepower. It weighs 1164 kilos and it's front-wheel drive. This definitely has the most aggressive initial turn-in that I remember seeing, maybe besides the Ibis Kestrel. Oh no! Gotta go again here. Well, I don't know what it is, but like initially the turn-in looks actually pretty good on this, but then it starts understeering. Mid-corner. We've had cars that were the opposite, the other way around, where it's like it starts understeering and then it kind of hooks as you go through the corner. With this, it's the other way around. Yeah, that cost me a lot of time. Had I not slowed down drastically there, I would have hit the curb and probably damaged the suspension. But it's still gonna be a reasonably good time here. 130.5. Man, everything is so close here. 130.5, 130.6, 130.7, 0.7. Jesus, four people here within 2 tenths. Next up was the Miachino by Sedan 57 Chevy. That car comes with a 2.5 liter inline 4 producing 236 horsepower and it weighs 993 kilograms. Yeah, I think the gap is going to widen a little bit on the Hirochi short circuit and definitely also on the neon cores as well. Although I feel like there's going to be like tiers of performance on the neon cores, if you will. I feel like there's going to be a couple close together, then a little bit of a gap, then there's going to be the next couple close together, and then another gap, and so on. I think that's how the neon cores is going to play out. On the Hirochi, I have no idea, honestly. But this car, the Miachino, definitely looks like an S2000 from the front, although with some differences, like these side vents are more aggressive. Obviously, the bonnet hump as well, and the little vents to the side of that. It's got the roof down. It's got some small intake vents here, I guess for brake airflow. Yeah, you can't really see S2. You can't really unsee S2000 from this one. I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10 because it's not like as much of a copy of the S2000 as the last one was a copy of the 306 Cabrio. But still, this is like heavily leaning on the S2000's design, in my opinion. Let's see what it drives like. It's quick. No ABS, I think. It's a bit of a wild ride. It does handle beautifully, but you gotta watch out with your throttle input because it does like to drift. 131.5. It's not necessarily a death trap. Like this is actually a I can imagine this being a lot of fun, like just in free roam. But in terms of the quickest lap time, it doesn't look like it's doing so hot. Like mid corner, this is actually nicely composed, but when you try to exit the corner, you really gotta watch out with the accelerator, because once you get past roughly 5,000 or so, that's when the back is gonna step out. Next up is the Delta Disconnect by MK Mailer. This one has a 2.5 liter boxer 4. It's got 205 horsepower, it weighs 1,225 kilograms, and it's rear-engined all-wheel drive. Yeah, it's not and across the line, it's and into the wall or into the fence or whatever. Now this is definitely the most unique looking car here with the body shape alone. Sadly, it looks much more 80s than the mid-90s though, in my opinion. I don't think this fits into the 90s very well. It's funky and there's a lot of detail going on everywhere, but just the shape alone, I think this belongs in the 80s. Does it have gull-wing doors? Well, unfortunately, we can't find out. There's no way of actually opening the doors here. If this were an 80s competition, I would probably give this a higher score, but this being mid-90s, I'm only gonna give this a 5 out of 10. No traction control. Let's try that start again. It's automatic. It's very grippy though. This is probably the easiest car to drive down here, out of all the ones I've driven today. $129.3 into the fence. No, it's not the fastest, it's only 4th place here. And next, which is also the last but not least, is going to be the Todoki F252-R, sent in by Aaron with Pizza. What a name. This car has a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 with 252 horsepower. It weighs 1119 kilograms. It's front-engined and rear-wheel drive. It did look very smooth and composed indeed. But it didn't have like the acceleration midway through the corner, I guess, the way that the Night Owl, I think, did. Is the Night Owl still in the lead? I think it is. Yeah, I hope they brought enough pizza, and you know they probably served the pizza on that rear wing because that's a or they intentionally moved it down here so you could have pizza on the trunk lid. It's a weird design choice, but. It should have a rear spoiler in automatic. It has a rear spoiler. It's just here rather than on the trunk, and that was the same in automation as well. It was like that when I received it. So yeah. Front looks very Nissan-ish. Very like Skyline-esque with the fin grille down here and the main grille down here. But it does have its own thing. It definitely has its own unique thing with the rear wing here. Actually, I like it. It's relatively like simple, but not overly plain, if you know what I mean. It's a simply elegant design, is how I would put it. I'm gonna give this a 7. Okay, so just so we're clear here, this thing does like going sideways. We're good. That didn't damage the suspension. Careful through here. Oh, 128.7. That's a good rank. That's third. All right. So. Whew, okay, so now we're done with racing. Let's check out the results. In first place, we have the Wells Spree with a time of 128.075. The Wells Spree, I gave that, I think, a 5 out of 10 for design. It came first, and now, what did I give it a 4? So this gets 10 points. By the way, with the way that the scoring works, first 10 places get points. Everyone that finishes outside of the top 10 gets 0 points, and then the classic system of ranking in reverse order. So first place 10 points, 10th place 1 point, and so on and so forth. So yeah, the Wells Spree did win. Second place was the Night Owl. That That gets 9 points. Third place now is the Todoki F252-R. That gets 8 points. Fourth is the F&S Macro Turbo SSS. So that one came fourth. That's 7 points. Then we have the Delta Disconnect in fifth. That got 5th place. That's 6 points. Yes, you were first indeed. Then that's my car. That's the Bullet in 6th place. Five points. Then we have the Peugeal Saucisse. That is in 7th place, gets 4 points. Then the Oktopus Wankel. There it is. 8th place, 3 points. Then the Halpin Mondello. That is in 8th place, gets 3 points. No, sorry, 9th place, 2 points. And then 10th place is going to be Nightwave Ibis Kestrel. So that gets 1 point. Then we have the GEC GR2 2.0. Eleventh place, 0 points. Then we have the Miachino. Zero points as well. Then we have the Poli Sabre. 13th. 0 points. Then we have the Cicero, which came 14th, 0 points. And then last we have the Primarri Quattro Sport, 15th, 0 points. All right. Good. So I will update the forum post as well. Yeah, that'll take a little bit of time. So the next race is going to be next Saturday at 6 p.m. Central European Standard Time. It will be streamed again on YouTube. If you have any feedback about the quality of the stream today, let me know so I can adjust things, because again, this was the first time I'm streaming on YouTube. So if anything's not quite right, I can tweak it for next time. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next stream, hopefully. Until then, have a good one, and see you around. Bye-bye.